So today we're going to talk about the life period 1946 to 1952. This period is really defined in a way by Calder's international distinction. In 46, after the war, he flew to Paris, his first international flight that he took for his solo show at Galerie Louis Carré.
On the plane Constellation.
Exactly, on the plane Constellation. And then, of course, 2 years later, he had these wildly successful shows in Brazil, and closed out this period winning the grand prize for sculpture in Venice. So it was a really exciting time for him, really at the top of his game in a way, internationally recognized. So the period started with this fantastic show at Galerie Louis Carré, which was organized by Marcel Duchamp. And again, this is one of the shows that will be featured on the website, which is extraordinary because there's so many layers to this chronologically, and Calder's involvement and Duchamp's involvement and the way that, it was all put together, and it's fascinating. So there will be a lot of archival materials, including this telegram from...
how do we still have this?
It's amazing.
So Duchamp sends a telegram, which is really a radiogram. Different. Telegram is on a wire, like telephone. Mm-hmm. And this is a radiogram, so it's like to Europe over radio waves, and responded, etc. So he writes to Louis Carré, are you interested in these miniatures that I've discovered? Calder's been making these miniatures during the war. And Carré writes back, interested, show Calder miniatures, would also gladly exhibit mobile sculptures available all sizes and colors, Louis Carré. So sort of like this kind of way they, you pay for every letter.
Right.
So it has to be kind of stunted like that. But this is to Duchamp, and it ends up with Calder's papers and Calder's archive. It's one of the most well-documented shows we have, in fact. There's so much about it. I think actually at that time that they were super excited to get back to Europe, right? Having Duchamp suggest Calder show these works at Carré, and Carré was one of the big dealers in Paris, and he was still there after the war, like he had somehow survived. There was a tremendous sense of optimism. They didn't really understand that New York was the new art scene. Like that hasn't really coalesced into something, right? That whole new generation and abstract expressionism hadn't really blossomed in the way that we come to know the post-war moment. So I think they were sort of thinking they were going to restart their lives back in Paris again, as if they could, without the full understanding that so much had changed. But it's also that time, this beautiful little catalog with Herbert Matter's cover again. That's the same signature Matter used on the cover of the MoMA catalog. And Herbert has, this has been reconfigured, it's Herbert's motion study of a mobile, which is a way to try to explain what it feels like to be around a mobile, right? He's not depicting the mobile, he's depicting the motion of the mobile in this stroboscopic photograph and creating something about it. And then, of course, as we know, Jean-Paul Sartre wrote the text in this book, in this little catalog, that's still the most important text ever written on Calder. It brings you right to the heart of the matter. When you read this text, you realize how essential, how he has distilled the most important ingredients in quite simple terms, actually, but you have this very full sensation after reading his text about what that experience is of being present with Calder's work. And it's not just observing it at a distance, but you're fully with the work through his words. It's completely amazing.